Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Regular viewers will know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're taking a brief look at the new Fujifilm XT3. I purchased this, this week actually. I think it arrived Tuesday. So I've not had long to play with it. So I'm going to keep this fairly brief, hopefully. I've said that before, it never works out. This is their flagship camera, well, along with the XH1 in their APS-C range of cameras. It's got a 26 megapixel APS-C backside illuminated sensor. I remembered that, blimey. That's a bit of a mouthful, say that when you're drunk. And apparently it takes great images. Well, it does, I can tell you. I'm absolutely chuffed to bits. I'm really excited about the image quality that the Fuji's produced. I got back into Fuji. I used to own an XA1, XE1, X Pro 1, or was it X Pro 2? I can't remember. I sold them 2 or 3 years ago. But I recently bought a second-hand XT10 purely to play with because I like the retro look and I like the retro styling of the Fuji cameras. They're sexy looking, which isn't really the important thing when you need really good results. But anyway, that's what I bought it for. And I really liked the XT10. So then I went out and bought the new XT100. I wanted to see what Fuji were doing. So I love the XT100. Again, the image quality is great. It's got the articulating screen, which I love. A really, really nice camera. Video quality is a bit indifferent. It's okay for 1080. Fine for vlogging, but not a great video camera. Where the XT3 has got it all. I think this is the best mirrorless camera that I've ever bought. Next to me Sony range, the Sony A7 III takes some beating, and that's full frame mirrorless. But even this is better than that in certain respects. Certainly video wise, not stills wise, but video, because the A7 III is full frame, this is APS-C. But the stills that come out of this are still outstanding, and I'm really loving them. I've got fitted to it the kit lens, the 18 to 55 XF kit lens. Nice lens, it produces great results. Aperture ring on the actual lens. This is what sets Fuji apart. Is the way it handles is very different to the way a conventional DSLR or mirrorless camera handles, because it's got all these controls on the top, but it hasn't got a PASM dial, and you don't set your aperture priority, shutter priority, manual from the PASM dial. It's a combination of how you set the shutter speed using the shutter speed dial. Fuji's do work slightly differently. It still has the control wheel on the front of the camera, or control wheel, dial, whatever, on the front, and it's still got the one on the back. But you don't use them as frequently as you would with a conventional mirrorless or DSLR. But you've got your exposure compensation. That's in the place where most cameras have them. Fine for working, it's nice and stiff. So you're not going to accidentally knock it. So when you got up to your eye, you still got nice control over your exposure compensation. It comes up in the viewfinder. And you've got a function button on the top here. I've got that pre-assigned for setting face detect or turning it off, this, that and the other. You've got your shutter speed dial on the top here, which is lockable. Hot shoe, obviously. Diopter setting. That's a really nice little touch that Fuji have implemented. You pull the wheel out, much easier to adjust it than it is on most other cameras. They're tiny little wheels, but on this one you pull the wheel, the control knob out, turn it, then push it back in, and that locks it. So your diopter setting is locked, it's not going to get moved. You've got your ISO, and I love that. You've got a really nice solid ISO clickable wheel here. To be honest, this camera's so good on auto ISO. In most situations, I leave it on auto ISO, but both these control wheels are lockable. And underneath that, you've got a command dial, which basically sets it to movie mode, brackets exposure, so it takes three or four shots in all at the same time. Your speed dial, so you can take, you know, how many frames a second. I think it's 6. Is it continuous shooting? 6 or 11. There's 2 modes there, high and low. So, you know, for sports photographers, wildlife photographers and what have you. Then on here you've got your exposure meter, command wheel. I have it set to sort of, I call it evaluative. I don't know what they call it, but covers the whole scene really. You can set it to spot metering. I find it works fine in that. You've got your back button focusing, automatic exposure lock buttons on the back here. More control. I mean, it's got all sorts of function buttons you can preset. And lovely thing is, Fuji have made pretty much all of them configurable, so you can change them to what you want. Yeah, really touchscreen, so you can touch the focus. You can turn that on and turn that off. I most of the time have that turned off. Because I'm used to using Sony's that hasn't got touchscreen, where the A7 III has for focusing, I tend not to use that. I prefer it's got a really good jog wheel on the back here. So you can actually set your focus just by moving the, not jog wheel, you know, the, what do they call that? Like a game controller, isn't it? You know, and that's really handy for doing that. And also you can set the size of the autofocus spot point, a really tiny point. For setting, I tend to have it much wider than that. And you can go wider, small and what have you. And again, the Sony A7 III's got a control dial like that. So that's brilliant for setting your focus point. Really like that. Great viewfinder, really sharp viewfinder. What is it? A 3.6 million dot viewfinder, and it is sharp. It is so bright. It's so sharp. I'm really enjoying the viewfinder, and I haven't got the best of eyes, so I like to use a camera that has got a good viewfinder. One of my favourite viewfinders is on the Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II. That is awesome. I really like that one. The Sony's not bad. In fact, the Sony's reason, you know, it's pretty good, but it's nowhere near as good as this. And you know, there's one feature that I love, again, for someone with bad eyes. It's got a function button on the front here. Great position for it. I really like where they've placed that. And what I've got that set for is setting the display, the size of the display on the monitor and in the viewfinder. Now, that's set to its normal mode, and that's really, for my eyes, quite small. Push that, look at that, you get a really large display now. You get a really large display here, so you can clearly see your aperture settings, your shutter speed, your exposure compensation, and that correlates in the viewfinder as well. So you get it, that comes up in the viewfinder as well as on the monitor. What a nice little touch, Fuji. It just goes to show that not everyone's got fantastic eyes, and either they realise that or they just wanted to do that. I think I mentioned I've got a function button on the top here. I've got that set to focus. So that's basically an overview of the, you know, basic on-off switch, an overview of its settings. Battery slots in the bottom here. It's the W126 battery, but it's a 126S, and that's interesting because I've got several batteries, because obviously I've got older cameras, but the 126 powers the camera and it works it, but it comes up with an error message on the monitor to say use the 126S battery because you'll get much better performance. So I don't know, these are third-party batteries, and this doesn't come up with the error message, so I don't know. But yeah, battery life, I think it's okay. I got through, just about through, what was it, about 4 hours worth of photos and a bit of video. That's not great, but it's not too bad. I don't know how many photographs I took. I wasn't keeping track. But, you know, it's not too bad. On the side here, you've got don't like the way that flap opens. You need nails to open it, but I mean, it is weather sealed. Oh yeah, this body is weather sealed, so it's not too bad. Dual UHS 2 SD card slots, so that's handy. I've got two 64 gig cards in there, so you've got redundancy built in. All pros like that. It should be on every modern camera, apart from the new Nikon and the new Canon. For some bizarre reason it hasn't, but two SD card slots in there. And on this side, you've got your USB ports, you've got USB, HDMI, and the great thing is, at last, Fuji have put a headphone jack and a mic jack on the conventional 3.5mm headphone and mic jack, which is tremendous. Because on the XT100, it's got a mic jack, but it's a 2.5mm mic jack and then no headphone jack. So it's a halfway house for video, certainly. But on here, they got both, and it's the normal size, great. And if you notice, I just took the flap off, and that's great, because when you've got this on a gimbal or on a tripod, you've got all sorts of things plugged into the side here, you don't want these flaps getting in the way. So you can take that off and you can lose it, and then spend money with Fuji and buy another one. No, hopefully you don't lose it. I try not to lose mine. But I do actually think, all joking aside, that is very useful, that you can remove that. And I like that, it's good. Obviously it doesn't become weather sealed once you've taken that off, obviously. Right, now we've briefly said about image quality. The image quality is great. It's a backside illuminated sensor. So in low light, I took some inside a church, very, very pleased with them. So image quality for stills is great. Image quality for video is, well, is outstanding. That's what I love about this camera. It is outstanding. I did some quick test shots the other day, filming Joe, and I was completely blown away by the image quality. It's sharp, it's really, really good. And this was the standard, no, this was the Eterna profile. I went with Eterna because it seemed to be what people were recommending with this camera. It's a flatter profile, but this hasn't even been graded. And, you know, yeah, I could adjust the contrast and brightness a bit, but I really don't need to. It is really, really good. And I say, the skin tones, everything about the video quality that comes off this camera so far, I've been absolutely delighted with. Very, very pleased with the image quality, particularly for video and for stills. There are a few quirky things that I'm not excited about, but, you know, one has to live with quirky things, don't you? Audio. Audio is a problem with, seems to be, most manufacturers, apart from Sony. Sony always have this nailed. I guess they've been in pro video production gear for many years. Maybe that's why they've got it nailed. But obviously you can plug your mics in. It has got manual audio controls, but it's a bit quirky how you have to adjust it. And, you know, you can see the audio levels on the display here, so that part of it's great. But I've set up a function button to be able to get into manual audio controls a bit quicker. So top one there, go to manual audio, set that to manual, yeah. Then you have to go across, and then you can actually set the audio levels using the control wheel, which is fine and dandy. And you've got a lovely big display here. And that's fine and dandy doing it that way. And you see the audio levels are going down. And you can see that by the needles here, when the audio level goes up. But once you go out of that, you lose those big displays, and you just get these little displays here, which it is a small screen, so you can't have everything. But I just find that clunky. With the Sonys, you just hit a function button to adjust the audio, and you turn the wheel that's around the back here or at the top here, and that adjusts the audio. Simple. With this one, there's more, you know, you've got to do more. You've got to go into that, then over there into another command, then you have to adjust it, you know. But I guess once you've got it set, you're away, ain't you? You know, so it's not the end of the earth. The autofocus on here in video is very, very good. It does track Very, very good. And the face detect autofocus does follow the face as you're filming. So, you know, I'm very, very pleased with the way it tracks the person that you're filming. Same with photos as well. The face detect autofocus is awesome, and the eye detect autofocus is fantastic as well. I would say it's very close, if not as good as what the Sonys are, and that's saying something. The A7 III tracks the eye beautifully. I think the Sony is just a tad better, but I am delighted with the way that this does it. I've got no complaints. Internal 420 10-bit recording with a right SD card, that is phenomenal. 10-bit internal, but external it can feed to Atmos recorder or something of that nature, and it does 422 10-bit. Wow, that's staggering. Very, very excited about that. And F-Log as well, so you can send I believe it does F-Log internal as well as F-Log external, which is basically like Sony's S-Log. It's a way of filming a much flatter profile, so you can actually grade it better. I don't do colour grading because I'm no good at it, so I'm always happy with the way it comes out with camera. I use a standard, you know, again, that's fine to me. It's a wee bit flat, I could bounce that a bit, you know, but yeah, the video features in here, Fujifilm have gone, you know, have made tremendous strides in video features. And also it records at 200 and 400 megabits a second, a really high bit rate. The Sony's is only 100. So the detail that you're getting in that file is absolutely awesome. It's got the articulating screen, only goes up and down. So it's not a true articulating screen. It does go that way. So when I say it only goes up and down, it goes up and it goes down, you know, great for certain things. If you're shooting down like that, that's really handy, and certainly great for low angle shots of that nature. And it articulates that way, not very far, but I guess that's handy if you're doing, you know, something like that. Take that off. You're doing something like that, it's handy, so you can, you know, you're doing a portrait shot foot lower down, or if you're doing a portrait shot from above like that, that's quite handy. But the shame is it doesn't articulate outwards. Unlike the Fuji XT100, it's a real pity that Fujifilm didn't incorporate the new design of the XT100's screen into the XT3, because that one articulates outwards like that, which is great, as well as going up and down. And I wouldn't have thought it had been too difficult for the engineers to incorporate that style of monitor onto the XT3. But hey ho, again, when I'm filming myself with this, or if I need to see what I'm doing, I'll just put a little monitor on the top, a little 5-inch, or if I have to, a little 7-inch monitor, but a little 5-inch one would be ideal. And again, that works fine. That's what I did when I went out and done this shoot. I just put a little 7-inch monitor on the top. And so that pretty much sums up my initial thoughts of the Fujifilm XT3. Great images, the lenses are superb, they're nice and sharp. Great ergonomics, really nice ergonomics, great handling. Really, in fact, the handling is what I really enjoy the most about it. Well, not the most, but you know, yeah, it's got on the front here the a proper switch for manual focus, continuous focus, and single shot autofocus. So, actually, interestingly, you don't have to remember to set that when you go into video mode. So you can leave it on single shot, but when you switch to video, it will automatically go to continuous autofocus. So I'm pleased about that, because otherwise it would probably bake my noodle as to why the focus isn't working. Great controls on the top. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. Great camera, great features, really nice to handle. I hope you enjoy watching these reviews. I do enjoy making them. If you do enjoy them, please hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate that. And hit the like button if you like this particular review. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for further reviews. Thanks very much. See you again soon. Bye for now.